I can't believe you actually did it, Mira whispers, her voice catching on the edge of disbelief as we step away from the roped-off platform. The late afternoon sun glints off the polished bronze plaque, but the air between us is colder than any winter dawn. You really went through with the unveiling. I force a smile, though it's brittle around the edges. I said I would, I reply, brushing imaginary dust from my jacket. The crowd has thinned, neighbors drift toward the coffee stall across the lawn. Local reporters are pocketing their pens, and the mayor's entourage is already off to celebrate at City Hall. But in this quiet moment, it's just us, and I can feel her gaze pinning me to the spot. Mira's eyes flick to the monument, a tall, asymmetrical tower of limestone and steel, intertwining like two hands reaching for the sky. It stands on the very corner where the old community center once stood, the place I fought so hard to save. You did it without us, she says. Even after everything. I inhale steadily, remembering the countless meetings, the late-night strategy sessions in my cramped apartment, the door knocks and rainstorms. They said they'd support my campaign, I murmur. But when it came down to the vote, her lips twitch, a fleeting smile, but it doesn't reach her eyes. They voted against you, she finishes. And then they took selfies beside your memorial. I swallow hard. The words feel heavy, like stones in my throat. I know. Mira shakes her head, stepping closer so her perfume brushes against me, a warm, wild scent that used to calm me. It's not just selfies, she says quietly. They're posting them online with captions like "Glad that eyesore is gone" and "Our new landmark, lol." A tremor of anger courses through me, hot and sharp. How dare they? How dare they treat something I poured my soul into like a joke? I want to tear their faces off their screens, scribble a response in blazing red ink, show them the blood and sweat and tears that went into every curve of this design. But I know it won't help. It never does. Is there any chance we can do something? Mira's voice is earnest, pleading. Maybe a second unveiling? A ceremony just for those who care. I glance at her, admiration flaring in my chest. Mira, always the optimist, the one who sees light after the darkest nights. It won't matter, I say softly. Once the narrative takes hold, it's like quicksilver. It slips through your fingers and you're left watching it settle, tarnished. She frowns, hurt flickering across her features. So what now? You just let them. The crack of a camera shutter interrupts us. I turn to see Councilman Reed, perched on the edge of the curb, his smartphone poised like a weapon. He lowers it, smirking. Great speech today, by the way, he calls, voice dripping with mock sincerity. Really touched the hearts of, what was it? 20 people. A cold laugh rises in my throat. Nice of you to join, I reply, stepping off the pavement onto the dewy grass. Reed shrugs, standing to his full 5'10". Had other priorities, he says, then raises the phone again. Say cheese, monument. He snaps a selfie with the sculpture looming behind him, lips pursed in exaggerated approval. The flash of his grin is like a slap to my face. Unbelievable, Mira mutters beside me. Do they even respect anything? I step forward, closing the small distance between us. Baraven, they respect power, not monuments. I say, and today they thought I was powerless. My voice is quiet, but it rumbles with the weight of betrayal. Reed's smile falters. He eyes me that practiced look of political calculation. Come on, you know it's not personal. This is politics. Politics, I repeat, tasting the bitterness, is exactly why I did this. Because it's personal for someone like me. Someone who grew up in a shelter down the street, who watched that community center get boarded up when funding dried up. His expression softens, just ever so slightly. For a moment I imagine, no, hope, he might apologize. But the moment slips away like smoke. He turns, gathering a small group of council aides, their laughter tinkling across the lawn like broken glass. Mira's fingers tighten around mine. Forget them, she whispers. They're cowards. I want to agree, scream it from the rooftops. But something in me recoils. The resentment feels as fragile as the thin limestone shards embedded in the sculpture. If I break it, it's gone forever. We walk away, following the paved path toward the street. I hear more shudders, more giggles, more offhand comments. Nice backdrop for sunset shots. I'd take a selfie with that over my ex any day. Even the local kids are in on it, crowding around the monument, Snapchatting, TikToking, shouting, "Hey Ed, smile." I stop and turn to face the monument one last time, the sun now dipping low, casting long, dramatic shadows across the lawn. In that light, the interlocking hands look more like chains than a symbol of unity. I close my eyes, trying to memorize every line, every edge, every imperfection. When I open them, Mira is standing a few paces behind, arms crossed, studying me. "What are you thinking?" I shrug, my heart pounding. I'm thinking I owe it to the real people, the ones who showed up in the rain, who signed petitions, who believed this would matter to give it another shot. She brightens, hope rekindling. Exactly. I hesitate. Only, I'm not sure how. A silence stretches, then Mira steps forward again, her hand brushing my arm. "You've already done the hard part. You got them to vote on it, 20 to 10. Remember? You may have lost here, but you won the argument. That counts for something." I glance at the monument, at the empty chairs left behind from the ceremony, at the crumpled program flyers underfoot. The memory of their faces, smug and dismissive, still stings. They voted against my campaign. I repeat, voice flat. And then they had the nerve to celebrate it. She nods sharply. "And that's exactly why you do it again. Next time, you do it bigger. You make it impossible to ignore." I let her words sink in, sharp and insistent. Something starts to buzz in my chest, a spark of defiance. My campaign speech replays in my mind. Call to action, community pride, reclaiming spaces. It's half remembered, but the core of it feels alive. "Okay," I say finally, exhaling. "Let's say I do it again. What's the plan?" Mira's grin is infectious, like sunshine bursting through storm clouds. We start by getting the community involved. Not just a ribbon cutting, but a real festival. Food trucks, live music, kids' art stations. Make it a neighborhood block party that they can't resist. I nod, already picturing it. Laughter echoing off the limestone. Children chasing each other in the sunshine. Elders pointing out details in the sculpture. Proud families snapping happy photos. I can almost taste the spilled soda and hear the strum of guitars. And, she continues, we roll out a social media campaign that highlights the personal stories. Show how that center shaped lives, how people rallied together. We flood the feeds with memories, videos, testimonials, before and after shots. Make it clear that this isn't about a stone and steel thing. It's about community. My mind whirs. It's audacious, ambitious, and entirely possible. I like it, I say, feeling a grin stretch across my face. Let's call it Hands Together Day. Mira's laugh rings out, pure and delighted. Perfect. And we'll ask everyone to post selfies with the monument on our terms. With a hashtag, a cause, maybe even a donation drive for the shelter. I inhale again, the anger receding, replaced by adrenaline. They thought they could hijack my moment. I mutter, but they forgot I know how to organize. She nudges me playfully. You did organize, and now you're organizing again. We fall into step, walking away from the monument as the sky flares with twilight colors. The town lights begin to flicker on beyond the park. Somewhere in the distance, a busker starts playing a jaunty tune, and a few stragglers toss coins into his guitar case. I glance at Mira. You know this could work. She winks. I know it will. And as we head toward my car, maps and to-do lists already forming in my mind, I realize that the story isn't over. The monument stands, but its meaning is not yet written. That will be decided by the hands that reach for it next, by the voices that rise to be heard. And this time, I won't let anyone else hold the pen. The morning sun felt like a promise as I parked my car 2 blocks from the monument. Dew still clung to the grass, and a soft breeze carried the scent of fresh coffee from the food trucks already lining the path. I tightened my jacket against the chill, inhaled deeply, and let the energy of the day wash over me. Hands Together Day had begun. My phone buzzed in my pocket. Mira's message. I'm here, booth 4. Come find me. I tucked the phone away and started down the sidewalk, where families were already queuing at the face painting station, children giggling as their cheeks blossomed into butterflies and tigers. Past the first food truck, selling breakfast burritos and hot chocolate, I spotted an elderly woman in a bright yellow cardigan, handing out leaflets. Her name tag read Eileen, and behind her a banner announced Memories Wall. I slipped in beside her. Good morning, Eileen, she beamed. Morning, dear. Isn't it wonderful? Look at this turnout. She gestured toward the gathering crowd. where teenagers with guitars tuned strings for the afternoon performance and local artists arranged their paintings on easels. It's incredible, I replied. Thank you for helping with the wall. Eileen's eyes misted. Your campaign, your fight, it inspired me. I lived in that community center when my children were small. We had dance recitals, ESL classes, birthday parties. I thought all that was gone forever. I nodded, pressing my lips together to hold back the lump in my throat. We're here to remember it and to create something new. She squeezed my hand. You did that, dear. I moved on, weaving through clusters of volunteers. At booth 4, Mira was already holding court. A small group, students from the local high school, huddled around her, their phones out, listening intently as she explained how to post selfies with the hashtag #HashHandsTogetherDay. I paused to watch. Mira's enthusiasm was palpable, her voice rising and falling, drawing them in. She passed out stickers and handed them a printed schedule of events: storytelling hour, kids mural painting, community potluck at noon. She looked up and grinned. There you are. Everything's running smooth so far. Want to walk the perimeter with me and check the memorial site? I followed her through the throng. The limestone and steel sculpture looked different today, trimmed by toddlers' chalk drawings at its base, framed by strings of fairy lights, and surrounded by handmade bunting in rainbow colors. The monument no longer felt like someone else's trophy. It belonged to all of us. Have you seen the photos online? Mira asked, slipping her arm through mine. People are already sharing their childhood memories here. Look. She showed me her phone, dozens of posts, each tagged with #HashHandsTogetherDay, filled with stories of potlucks, study groups, evening Tai Chi sessions. One post had over 100 likes. Before this center closed, I learned to speak English here. Now I'm a teacher. Thank you. Another, I met my husband at the weekly jam session under that roof. Best years of my life. I swallowed hard. That's why we did this. Not for the council or their selfies. For every story like that. For every life this place touched. Time to get you mic'd up, Mira said, pointing to the makeshift stage. A small PA system stood ready, and a volunteer offered me a lapel mic. I hesitated. Public speaking had never been my strength. But when I looked over the faces in the crowd, I felt their history anchoring me. Moments later, I stepped up onto the stage. The chatter died down. The mayor stood at the side, his arms crossed and expression inscrutable. Councilman Reed hovered behind him, phone in hand, but didn't take a picture. I sensed tension rising in my chest. I adjusted the mic and cleared my throat. Thank you all for coming, I began, voice steady, buoyed by the warmth in the morning air. When we started this campaign, we faced more than doubt. We faced apathy. We faced ridicule. But today, we stand together to reclaim something that belongs to every single one of us: a ripple of applause. I let their energy carry me on. The community center on this very spot was more than a building. It was a sanctuary, a school, a stage, a home for countless events that brought us together. When it closed, I heard the echoes of children's laughter fade, the hum of conversations die, and I felt something inside me break. I paused, eyes sweeping the crowd. I promised I would do something. And though some of our elected officials voted against saving that center, today is proof that when a community stands united, we can make things happen. A roar of cheers. Near the front, Eileen dabbed tears at her eyes. Families applauded. Teenagers who had never known the center before were clapping enthusiastically. Even the mayor, flanked by his aides, nodded once. I smiled, inhaled, and dropped my gaze to the monument. This sculpture, these hands, reaching out, it's a symbol of our resilience. And today I invite you all to not just remember what we lost, but to build what we can become. Share your stories on the memories wall. Bring your lunches to the potluck. Paint the mural with your dreams. Let us be the hands that hold each other up. The crowd surged forward. I stepped off the stage and found Mira grinning beside me. She high-fived me, then looped her arm through mine again. You nailed it, I laughed, exhaling relief. I couldn't have done it without you. We walked to the memories wall, a long stretch of butcher paper pinned to a fence, already crowded with colorful notes. Teen Jazz Night, 1998. Summer Reading Program, 2002. Cultural Dance Festival, 2005. Children were discovering crayons and adding their own scribbles. A man in a crisp suit approached. His name was Jamal, president of the neighborhood council. one of the 10 who had originally voted against the campaign. He cleared his throat. I just wanted to say I'm sorry for how I behaved. He gestured at the wall. I never realized how much this meant to so many people. I studied his face, honest, contrite. Thank you, Jamal. That means a lot. He sighed. I guess I was looking at property values and budgets, not at people's lives. You opened my eyes. I nodded. We all learn. I'm glad you're here now. He smiled, then stepped forward to add his own memory. Community center chess tournaments, where I lost every game to Mrs. Patel. We all laughed. A connection formed in that moment, one more hand reaching out, uniting us. For the next hour, I floated between activities, helping kids select paintbrushes for the mural, encouraging local poets to share verses, sampling a spicy sausage roll from the food truck. Everywhere I turned, I saw faces lit up with genuine joy, not the cynical grins of a selfie-hungry council. This was the celebration I'd always wanted. Around midday, I paused to watch a dance troupe performing beneath the monument. A group of 6 teenagers twirled and leapt, costumes swirling in bright fabrics, feet pounding out rhythms that echoed off the limestone. They called it community, and the choreography wove together moves from different cultures: Aboriginal steps, African rhythms, Southeast Asian patterns. As I watched, my chest swelled with pride. This was the spirit of the place, diverse, creative, alive. When the performance ended, the crowd roared, and the dancers gathered before the sculpture. I slipped in beside them, lifted my arm, and we captured a spontaneous group selfie, smiles wide, hands raised in solidarity, the monument a proud witness behind us. Later, as the afternoon sun dipped toward the western horizon, I found Mira setting up a small table labeled donations. A clear box held contributions to the local shelter, the very one I'd grown up in. We'd asked for a voluntary $5 donation in exchange for participation in Hands Together Day activities. When Mira lifted the box's lid, I saw nearly $2,000 in bills and coins. I laughed with disbelief. Look at this, she grinned. People want to give. I realized how far we'd come, from the sting of betrayal that first evening when selfies had mocked us, to this moment of genuine generosity. We've done something good here, I said, voice thick. Mira squeezed my shoulder. We've done more than good. We've changed the story. As dusk settled, lanterns were lit around the base of the monument. The final event of the day was a candlelight vigil, an invitation for everyone to place a candle in honor of someone who'd been touched by the old community center. Families, friends, and strangers gathered in a circle. I took a candle, lit it, and set it between a photograph of a child's birthday party and a handwritten note. For my mom, who taught me to dance in that hall. Silence fell, broken only by the soft creak of steel and the whisper of wind through the grass. Then, one by one, voices rose to share memories. I met my lifelong friend here. This is where I overcame my fear of public speaking. My grandmother came to her first English class here. Each story was a testament, a seed sown for future growth. When the last candle was lit, I stepped forward again. The mic crackled as I spoke. Thank you for sharing your stories, your light. Tonight we prove that no vote, no cynical selfie, no budget meeting can erase our history. We are the hands together, and together we will shape tomorrow. A final cheer rose and the crowd surged forward, hugging, laughing, lingering. I looked up at the monument, now bathed in gentle glow, its sharp edges softened by lantern light. The steel and limestone interlocked like two friends embracing, reaching upward, unbroken. Mira slipped her arm through mine again. You did it, she whispered. I shook my head, breathing in the warmth of the moment. We did it, as the last of the volunteers packed away supplies, and the musicians played a final tune under the moonlit sky. I realized the journey wasn't over, it was just beginning. The council might vote again on funding repairs or future community projects. There would be reports to write, budgets to balance, next steps to plan. But I no longer feared those votes. I had seen the power of a united community, of genuine engagement, of turning mockery into momentum. I closed my eyes, feeling the hum of voices around me, the steady glow of candles, the sense that we had reclaimed something far more valuable than a building. We had reclaimed our narrative. When I opened my eyes, I saw Eileen standing beside the monument, her daughter's hand in hers. They were saying a quiet prayer, faces serene. Behind them, children chased fireflies, laughter echoing across the park. Far off, the last of the lanterns flickered. I leaned into Mira and whispered, Next year, let's make it even bigger. She smiled, eyes sparkling. I wouldn't have it any other way. Together we stepped back into the crowd, hands intertwined, hearts full, and as the night wrapped around us, the monument stood tall, no longer a forgotten edifice, but a living testament to what happens when people choose to stand together.